Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jasmine. I'm also known as Bubbles on Ice on Tumble and on Instagram. Welcome back to yet another tarot card reading for celebrities. Today I am doing the final part of Armie Hammer's tarot reading. I have done two parts for him before. This will be the third. And I'm saying that this will be the final because I have so many requests on my list, and I feel that I have to move on so that some of my followers don't have to wait too long for the readings of their celebrity. However, you are more than welcome to request new readings for Armie Hammer once my list is due and I start on a new one. Or if you have any quick questions, you are also welcome to either comment under the comment section or send me a DM, as long as it doesn't require a long, detailed reading. I can still do some short readings if it is just, a short question. This last reading is requested by one of my followers. Well, actually, not only one, I think there were a few requests. People wanted to know about this person that we spoke about in part one, a person who left Armie, and due to this person leaving, his life also spiraled. And a lot of people wonder if that person could be Timothée Chalamet. And I promised that I will take a look at it. And I also have some followers who are very interested in knowing the relationship between these two men and wants to know a bit more about them. So I pulled some cards, and I can't promise you that I can give you every answer that you want, but we will sure try to see what the cards can tell us. Now, the cards are never wrong, but my interpretation sometimes can, be incorrect. That's why I'm showing you the cards as well, because then you are able to also resonate to the cards and do your own interpretations, because fans always have more information than I do and would be able to resonate to situations or things. If I mention something, you might recognize it and know what it means. And if any of that happens, you're more than welcome to make a comment in the comment section just to let me know and maybe let others know as well. So here are their cards. I'll just show you quickly here. And as I've told you before, I am a fan of using different decks. I use both oracle cards and tarot cards, and I combine them because that gives me a more detailed picture to my readings. I want to start with this one. We already talked about how Armie spiraled. He unfortunately got caught up in a scandal, and that was a tower moment for him. That was very life-changing. Now, I also think this tower moment, this sudden and devastated moment, changed the relationship between him and Timothée. Something very abruptly, something very sudden happened. Now, if we take a look at cards from here, gossip, I think we can all agree on when when you are an actor, when you are famous, there is bound to be gossips. People will gossip about you. And it was hard for both of them due to gossips. But at the same time, I feel like they have a love and hate relationship to gossips, because at one point, gossips help them actually to elevate themselves. But also, some of the gossips were very destroying and annoying, and there were a lot of untrue stories out there. And they were very engaged in these gossips. They were both happy and unhappy at the same time about things written about them and said about them. We have talked about their connection before, and we have got yet another confirmation here, soul contract. So they are definitely, soul bound. I think they have a very strong bond. They are there's a lot of strong appreciation between them. They appreciate each other very much. I feel like there's a mentor and a student type of relationship. A very strong connection already from the very start. There's a lot of admiration, instant chemistry. And I feel like they had a lot in common, yet there were a lot of differences. Now let's just talk a little bit about each of the cards. We already talked about gossip. Here you see that they probably have unfinished business. They are not done with each other. They have some unfinished business. They are soulmates. If I remember correctly, I think we once or maybe even twice pulled the twin flame cards for them. I did not this time, but it doesn't mean that they are not, because they are definitely soulbound. Someone is feeling guilty, overwhelmed, drawn within themselves. There has been some kind of illusion, some kind of lies, someone being backstabbed. And you have the Lovers in reversed. Something happened. Something happened that turned their relationship upside down. You have the Three of Wands. Normally the Four of Wands is the card for soulmates because it represents 1111, which is also an angel number. Here you see a man is holding on to his 3 wands and he's waiting for the 4th. Pay attention to red flags. Mend. Someone wants to fix this connection. Because they had a lot of chemistry, but again there were deceptions. There has been some deceptions. We have be courageous, dare to be happy, don't lose hope, reunion. We will always come back to each other. We'll see what we find out later on. We have the moon. That is also a deception card. It is about secrets, hidden agendas. And here you see a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, people being stabbed, people crying, people don't want to see. And then we have playfulness, reconciliation, reunion. Might indicates that, and also this one, unfinished business, it indicates that they are not, done. And then we have a judge there, decide the outcome, tell the truth. Now when I combine all these cards and I try to look at them, I feel like someone definitely did some lying. There has been deception. Someone was betrayed. So you might not be all wrong about thinking that this person who abandoned Armie and left him spiraling might be, Timothy. Um, I kind of feel like when I read its cards now, it's I sense that the older one in this relationship, it's like it's easy to think that he was the cynical one and the young one was the naive one, but I actually think it is opposite. I I'm gonna get those Chalamet fans, you know, after me now. I'm sure they will execute me for saying this, but I feel like he was the cynical one and the one who was being very calculated in this relationship. Um, I think they had successful moments with a lot of fun and memories. They shared a lot of things. They went on adventures, they shared deep conversations, and they truly had a deep connections. They would reveal secrets for each other. They joked, and they also, talked about serious matters, and they exchanged opinions. They planned together. They were very aligned. They were very aligned. They were really soulmates. They were really soulmates, and there were a lot of playfulness. They were, almost there. They were almost there. Had a lot of chemistry, a lot of chemistry. I feel like when one of them starts something, the other will complete. That was how aligned they were. And I think they, love to do things together, like listen to music together, and probably maybe even have, songs that remind them of each other. But they were also very ambitious people. Both of them, they were aiming for the star. They were aiming for success, for a career. They talked a lot about future work, and they saw, endless opportunities. They wanted to be happy. They wanted to be courageous. They had a lot of stuff going on. But there were also definitely a lot of red flags. But they had this chemistry that were really out of this world. I feel like when they were together, there were no space for anyone else. Others would feel left out in the presence. When they were together, they were just the two of them. And they were each other's support system. I think Armie kind of took Timothee under his wings. Probably provided him for comfort, and advice, and he opened a lot of doors for him. Opened a lot of opportunities for him. He cared deeply for him. I feel like he opened his home. He introduced his friends, like family and kids and extended family, maybe even, and business associations. They were inseparable. They were always, together. This card here used to be upright. But I feel like because of this card, the Magician, and the Moon card that is about hidden agendas, and this Deception card here, I feel like I think Timothy unintentionally kind of misled Armie. I think Armie developed a crush for Timothy, and Timothy knew, and he purposely led him on, like flirted with him and even encouraged, his feelings. And at the time, there were a lot of people cheering for them because of this movie, and and to make people think that they were a couple actually worked, for his own career. I think he is a very ambitious young man. He is far from as naive or, in lack of knowledge as we think. He's very calculated. He plays his role very well, even in real life. Um, but not in a vicious way. He's not like, he doesn't mean anything bad. And he truly liked and respected Armie, and he even loved him, I think. But his career, he's just so ambitious, and his career was so much more important for him. And he knew that he was heading for something big. He knew, and he couldn't let that chance pass him by. So for him, it was like a now and never moment. And also, his own feelings for Armie was very frightening for him. He was, scared. He was very scared. He didn't dare to go there. He was very scared. Um, he didn't want to believe in those feelings, so he rejected them, and he's still rejecting them. And for Armie, it was frustrating because they had a relationship where they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Um, and he just never knew where they stood. And I think at one point, it was like gossips starts surrounding them. People around them got suspicious. Even his wife, Armie's wife. But I kind of feel like she probably had her own fascination for Timothy as well. Maybe even more than Armie, because Timothy is a very charming young man. He's very magnetic, and he draws people to him. So I think she also developed a crush on him as well. But she tried to disguise this as a love, for a bonus kid, like she was the mother. So she gladly welcomed him to their home and into their family, and she always tried to be present around them when they go somewhere. And suddenly she just wanted to, partake in their activities as well. She was pulled between both jealousy and fascination. And she wants desperately to, separate the two of them. She wants to separate them yet maintain attention from both. She wanted, all. I feel like she would always interfere when they try to be alone, come between them, and they kind of, became this weird. Maybe that's why we have these three wands here. They became a weird, love triangle thing. Her relationship with Armie started to get sour, and Armie was, getting a lot annoyed by her. And I think Timmy was caught in between, and he tried to, carefully navigate between the couple. I feel like she might have caught them in some kind of an intimate moment at least once, and felt, cheating on her. And I feel like she has ever since tried to fix that connection with her husband. I think Timmy, he was still very young. So I don't think he actually, thought about, any consequences to what he was doing. He was just very ambitious, and he wanted out and be successful. And in a way, it's like Armie was a way for him to achieve that. Armie had the fame, he had the connections, he had the money, and also Timothee found him really, truly handsome and attractive. He was attracted to Armie, and being intimate in a movie also naturally, urged some of these feelings that he probably would not have developed for a man if it wasn't for being so intimate in that movie. Because I think he is the kind of person who needs time to return to himself after playing a role. He gets very into the person he plays. He cannot fully put away that personality. So I feel like he creates this persona. He creates this illusion. It's like if he had acted as Batman, he would feel like a superhero for a long time after. Like it would take him a lot of time before he manages to get back to reality. That's what I feel. And when I look at all these cards, it is starting to really make me feel like that person who abandoned Armie when he started spiraling is Timothee. But again, please take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I might interpret the cards completely wrong. But I feel like for Timothee, I think he is kind of like he wanted it, but he also didn't want it. So he was very hot and cold all the time, and I think Armie felt very frustrated, tired, and because he was also on the verge of leaving his wife and his family for Timmy, and Timmy apparently got cold feet. He started withdrawing. He started to just turn his back on Armie, because he was so uncertain about this. And I think the final straw for Timothee was when Armie started seeing others. Because Armie, he is kind of a bit hot-headed. So when Timothee started acting hot and cold, and he was scared that he would lose Timmy, he started reacting in a very unreasonable way. So he started to try to make Timothee jealous. So he started seeing other people. Now Armie wasn't exactly doing it in private. He would do it very openly. So I feel like he made sure that Timothee knew. He made sure that Timothee would see pictures. He made sure that he would bring girls and be in the next room, or walked past him with someone. And I sense that they might have started a war like that. And Timothee would do the same thing to make Armie jealous. So they started some kind of a war, and just trying to make each other jealous, and just to see who could trigger the other one. And the relationship between them became quite toxic. You know, they got really overwhelmed and stressed about this. And yet, you know, and with all this deception and lying and competition comes also, you know, guilt came along as well. And I sense that when Armie divorced his wife and this scandal surfaced, because Armie was at a very dark place, he got addicted to, you know, a lot of stuff, and he made very bad choices, and this scandal, you know, surfaced, and when that happened, Timothee backed out from everything. He just pretended like he did not know anything, he had not seen anything, he had not heard anything, and he just ran for the hills. He was saving himself and his own career, and from that point he just never really mentioned Armie ever again. Armie reached out, but Timothee shut him down, and he was by then, I believe, never seen with Armie again, and he never spoke of him. And without Timothee's support, and from the outside, you know, when things really start to spiral, that made, you know, when Timothee didn't even show up to support him, that made Armie look, you know, that made Armie and his case look even worse. And Armie blames Timothee for that. But I think Timothee was also very, very heartbroken. He was very heartbroken by this. But he hid it very well. He is still hiding it very well. He kept his mind on, you know, reaching for his main goal, and that is to be a successful actor. And to be well known, you know, and he has ever, you know, from that point on just been, you know, running. I think he pretends that he's unaffected, but I think he does read about Armie. He misses him. You know, he wants to tell the truth. He wants to come clean. He feels that they do have unfinished business. And I feel like that he does, you know, stalk Armie online, reading about him. And he still talks about Armie to certain people, but he's very careful because no one must know, because of his own career and his own reputation. So it has definitely been a life-changing moment for Armie. He spiraled because of this. He left his family, he lost his career, and his heart, you know, ached for Timothee. It is very hard for him to forget, especially because Timothy's face is everywhere. He cannot escape him. He is being reminded constantly. So he tried for the longest time to stay offline, so that he could heal, because he just hates, you know, seeing pictures of them, because, you know, a lot of people still post pictures of them two together, and that, you know, brings back a lot of bad memories for Armie. Seeing pictures of them, you know, being happy, and how people would say nice stuff but not knowing the truth. And he is also still waiting for, you know, the outcome of the bad things that has happened. So he has a lot to work on mentally, um, but he still longs for Timothy, and he's trying not to lose hope. He is hoping for a reunion, but I think it's just not the right time yet. It is still not the right time. There are still a lot of things to be mended first. Yeah, this is what I get from this reading. That's how I interpreted these cards. I don't know if you agree or not. I know that there are very strong opinions when it comes to these two men. So I think whatever whatever path I have chosen to interpret these cards, it would be wrong for someone. But the message here is, I think that people see him as the strong and dominant part in this relationship, but actually I think it is the opposite. I think it is the opposite. I think Armie was the one who was bending a lot for Timothy. Timothy was the one who actually had the power to decide things, and he was the one who was cynical and calculated, and unfortunately also led Armie on to believe that they had something. Well, it's wrong for me to say that as well, because they definitely had a thing for each other, but Timothy is just so ambitious. His career means much more. He will never do anything to harm his career ever. So he chose that, prioritized that instead of Armie. And maybe if they did not start that jealousy war between them, maybe if Armie didn't start seeing other people, this would have had another outcome. Because Timothy was also hurt by the choices that Armie made. Yeah. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this last part of Armie Hammer's reading concerning Timothée Chalamet. Please let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any additional information, or if there are things you agree to or disagree to, feel free to let us know. Okay, have a nice evening, and we'll talk later. Bye.